Welcome to Sajine Clarity Podcast, a space to explore our clarity journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from the expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices, and thriving after life's challenges. But this isn't just about my story. It's about life, from relationships, self-discovery, to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. So if you're ready to embrace courage, healing, and living life on your own terms, you're in the right place. Let's connect. Let's grow. Welcome to the journey. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional, and the content shared here is based on personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. Well, welcome. Today's podcast title is Things I Wish I Knew Earlier. You were always valuable. They just didn't want you to see it. So, what if the problem was never your worth, but the environments that benefited from your questioning it? In this deeply personal and empowering episode, I'm sharing the truth I wish I knew earlier, how my value was present all along in my work, relationships, even spiritual spaces, but I was conditioned to believe I had to earn it. If you ever felt overlooked, underpaid, overworked, or never quite enough, this episode will help you reconnect with your truth, reclaim your worth, and step into clarity. In this episode, we'll talk about how systems condition you to doubt your value, the hidden benefit others gain from your self-doubt, signs you're being undervalued at work, in relationships, and spiritually, practical boundaries to reclaim your power, how to start seeing clearly yourself today. You're not too much. You are not enough. You are awake now. So, welcome back. Sajine Clarity. I'm so grateful you're here with me today. Today's episode is something I wish I could go back and tell a younger version of myself. That I was never lacking value. I was just surrounded by environments that benefited me from not knowing it. If you've ever felt like you've had to overwork, overgive, or overprove just to be seen, this episode is for you. The first lie we were taught. Let's start with the belief. I'll be enough when I work harder, when I give more, when I fix myself, when they finally choose me. I lived in that cycle for years, more like decades. At work, I believed recognition came after exhaustion. Let's raise our hands. How many of us have been so exhausted we thought if they just see how much I'm putting into my work, they will recognize me? No, they didn't. They just saw a really good tool that keeps working. In relationships, I believed love came after proving my worth. How many times did we do so much laundry, so much cooking, so much therapy work, so much other things, just so we can prove that we had worth? And spiritually, I believed I had to earn approval. How many times did they tell us you had to follow a whole bunch of rules and regulations in order to feel worthy? Well, guess what? You always had worth. You were made in the image of God, and He gave His one and only Son so you may be what? Saved. So why am I proving my worth to people who just wanted me to be very overly compliant? But here's the truth. The finish line keeps moving, because it was never meant to be reached. Where this shows up. Work. You're doing high-level work, just being paid and treated like you're replaceable. You're told, just keep going. Your time will come. But somehow it never does. To me, I think that was the hardest thing. You go to school, college, extra training classes, you read a whole bunch of books, just so you can be the best worker, right? You keep working, the output is exceptional, and to you, you're thinking, okay, it's coming. They've told me I'm almost there. I came to the realization that there's teens out there that are managers of fast food places. Now, we could say, oh, that's just fast food places. No, they have to still make sure people eat their food and not get sick, right? And they're in charge of a lot of money. And yet, us older people who are in corporate environments keep getting told that we're just not quite enough to be a manager or a VP, whatever you want to call it. And you're thinking, wait a minute, I manage a household. I manage things at church. I manage a marriage. I manage work. And yet I'm not worthy of that? Okay. And heaven forbid if you want to voice your boundaries. Because now they're saying you're difficult, that you're not cool. I don't think that's okay. In relationships, you're giving love, patience, understanding, but being told you're still not enough. Meanwhile, they're benefiting from your empathy. This one was tough. I spent 2 decades basically being a very efficient personal assistant, slave, housewife, gardener, childcare, whatever you want to call it. Wear so many hats. I remember being so exhausted that I wanted to take a nap, and I was told, oh, no, you're just lazy. And I was like, wait a minute, why am I lazy? I think you can see everything that I've done. The dinners and the extracurricular stuff you do. The many things you do to make yourself look pretty, smelling good, agreeable. Yeah, it was never enough. Now that I think about it, I should have charged. You know how much laundry I had to clean, fold, separate by colors, and just so I can be told that I'm a good housewife? I don't think so. I managed calendars, foods, homes, bills, you name it, and still had to go to work. And yet, I was told that I was still not enough. I actually got told I was garbage. And not just once. At least 100 times repeatedly in my face. But if I was garbage, then why were they even worried about being near me or trying to get me to change? In spiritual spaces, you're serving, giving, showing up, but always feel like you're falling short, yet they continue to rely on you. You know how many times I had to do so much preparation. I was a church teacher for the very young, infants, all the way up to adults. I specialized in the women's programs. I did the song leading, even preaching some sermons, and yet I was still not enough. Why? Let's see what you're wearing, what you're saying, what you're doing. Why are you so independent? Why aren't you on the, coattails of your husband, making yourself look good? And then once I was divorced, I was pretty much ostracized. The truth. This part might be hard to hear, but it will set you free. They saw your value in all those places, whether it was work, in your marriage, or church. They all know you had value, or else I don't think they would have had you doing anything. But they just benefited from you not seeing it. That's the thing that I've been working on the most, is for the longest time, my contributions in life felt like I was just, cleaning up garbage in everybody's lives. But in actuality, once I start seeing the tremendous value I bring, oh no, they really did leave me without the money that I deserve. They just said, okay, fine. She doesn't see it. Even better. Because when you don't see your value, you overstay, you overgive, you overwork, you undercharge, you stay quiet. And that's convenient for whom? Them. So, I tell you, the things that you go through is not okay. The amount of work you provide for free, I won't do that again. The amount of value that I have is tremendous. It hurts because I wish I could go back and say no. You want something, you're going to have to pay. Why? Every business pay, you have to pay. When you want some specialized work, you have to pay. So why shouldn't you charge, right? This is your wake-up moment. Clarity changes everything. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start asking, is this mutual? Am I being respected or just used? Why do I feel drained instead of valued? And here's your permission. You don't have to stay where you are tolerated. You don't have to prove what is already true. Don't do it. I mean, the amount of every day that I go through the healing process, I wake up and I am just dumbfounded of how much they expect you to do, and yet they still complain that you don't do it. And then when you complain, they actually feel like saying the audacity of you getting upset. It's not okay. So, I'm going to bring you some solutions. We can talk about it because I think it's important in our lives. So, first one, stop over-explaining yourself. Your no is enough. I remember I felt like I had to over-explain because I was scared of being hurt or that I was going to get in trouble. I don't know about you. I think I've noticed something, a pattern, is when we've grown up people-pleasing because we didn't have the support in our lives, we're afraid all the time, right? And so we figure if I can explain my reasonings and get them to convince why I deserved it, then I'll be okay. No more. 2, audit your environments. Where do you feel energized versus drained? I get it. We all need jobs. I know that very well. But we have to find ways of how we can minimize the amount of toxicity and damage that is thrown our way. We go there, we do what we promised as far as in our work. Once it's done, it's done. I know it's the hardest thing because you are mission driven. And this is just transactional roles. And are actually transactional roles where they think you have to be the overgiving family member. Now, I actually go in many places and I'm like, okay, if I'm energized, I will take a good amount of time. Because there still has to be balance. You just can't just do so much because your body is not okay, right? And then if you feel drained, like when I feel drained, I'm like, okay, I'm out. It's not worth it to me. 3, match energy. Stop giving 100 to people giving 20. Oh my gosh, this is so powerful. Even at work or in relationships. I remember I would be giving like up to 150% of my value to them. But yeah, I'm getting paid only 100%. So why am I giving that additional 50%? Even in relationships, I was like, why am I giving so much and I'm getting maybe 20%? And then I think about church and they weren't giving me anything. Do you know that I have learned so much more on my own, opening the Bible, going, verse by verse, and even investigating why. I've learned a lot more that way than any other way. 4, set value-based boundaries. If this isn't reciprocated, I step back. Now, yes, I get it. You're going to be like, well, if you give something, it has to be out of your heart. You don't ask for anything back. I'm not talking about gifts. I'm talking about self-respect. If you're giving so much self-respect, then it should be reciprocated back. If you're trusting, the same thing. The thing is these days, people think, oh, I can just jump ship every second. And it's sad because the amount of value in people's lives is going away. 5, reconnect with your internal validation. Not everything needs external approval. I think this is where your inner self-trust comes in, because so many times we think that we have to ask for validation. From whom? They don't even know what they're doing. Why? Because we're all learning by mistakes. And we learn to pivot and turn and move to different ways. So stop asking for it. Or guess what? Some of them, if you ask for it, that permission, they're going to be like, no. Why? Because they got the power to say no. No, 6, ask better questions. Instead of, am I enough? Ask, is this environment aligned with me? This was something important. Because if you think about it, when you went to school, you did not get the chance to interview the teacher that was going to teach you. You didn't get the chance to interview who was going to be your boss. And sometimes you didn't even have the time to grill that person who said that they were going to be with you forever after. Why? Because you were taught to people please. No, that ends today. There's something that I want you to know. Is in all of this stuff, you can see a common theme. Is we gave so much to be liked, to be loved, to be accepted, to feel like part of the fold, right? Because human beings, we are made to be that way. We're meant to have that human connection. And instead we get thrown out. There's people, I've noticed, people, they're just testing. They're studying you to see if you are the good person to be bamboozled. The thing is, you also have that choice and chance to be able to make those questions or tests to see if that individual is good for you in your life or place, right? Go ahead, do it. Because the way that I think about it, the amount of time that I've wasted, I'll never get back. It hurts. But what I love is that I have this newfound chance to be able to make this life a lot better for myself and for others. That's why I'm advocating for everyone, because I'm saying no, enough's enough. So let's move on. I want to guide you through something powerful, because understanding your value mentally is one thing, but feeling it is where transformation happens. So let's get started with our little guided meditation. Get comfortable. Relax your body. Take a deep breath in. And slowly exhale. Again, take a deep breath in. And release. Now gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness to your heart space. And just notice how much you've carried trying to be enough. Now imagine a version of you who never doubted their value. They walked into a room and they don't shrink. They don't prove. They don't chase. They simply are. Now ask yourself quietly, what would it feel like to be that version of me today? Let that feeling expand. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are remembering. Now repeat silently or out loud. I was always enough. My value is not up for negotiation. I release the need to prove myself. I choose spaces that choose me. Take a deep breath in. Exhale slowly. When you're ready, open your eyes. All right, before we go, I have your 5 journal prompts. 1, where in my life have I been overgiving to feel valued? 2, what environments make me feel not enough? And why am I still there? 3, what would change if I fully believed I was already enough? 4, where do I feel most like myself? And how can I expand that? 5, what boundary can I set this week that honors my value? If this episode spoke to you, that's your clarity. You were never too much, and you were not never enough. You were just in the spaces that couldn't meet you. If you're on this journey of healing, truth, and clarity, follow me. Share this episode. Help this message reach someone who needs it. Let's help this channel grow so we can start bringing this out to you. I just want to say, this is Jean Clarity, and I'll see you in the next one.